Hi, everyone, and a happy Monday. Welcome in the Rounding the Bases Live, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust. Hashtag no stopping you. Hope that everyone had a good, safe, maybe relaxing weekend. I know that these days all blend together, but I personally have found myself just looking forward to the weekends and shutting things down a little bit because I think we're all scrambling and trying to figure things out, or hopefully have figured some things out as we continue to pivot. So another week ready to go here on Rounding the Bases Live, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust. I feel like I keep saying this, some combination of can't remember what day of the week it is, or I can't believe how many of these shows that I've been able to host so far. But for having a weekly podcast, and the weekly version, by the way, came out this morning, as it does every Monday morning. And my guest is John Jantz, who is the owner of Duct Tape Marketing and an author and a podcaster. So I hope you'll check that out. Just search for Rounding the Bases on any app that you get your podcasts on. But then this is Rounding the Bases Live with a guest Monday through Friday. And so what started as an idea as this pandemic sent everybody home quickly now has us at episode number 30. So I'm really proud of that, the response, appreciative. I'll ask it every single day. If you could share this with your networks, spread it around social media, I think there's a lot of value. That's my hope, at least, to share expertise and inspiration involving leadership, culture, and these times that we're in right now with the coronavirus. Also want to give a shout out to my friends at Casey Cattle Company. Follow their social media at Casey Cattle Company. They're growing. They're local up in Western Missouri. They're veteran owned and operated. And this hint, because they deliver to all 50 states, Wagyu beef, it is unbelievable. Tomorrow morning, get in tomorrow morning. That's usually when everything that's sold out reloads on their website. That's my little inside secret there. I don't want to tell too many people because then I'm going to have a hard time getting the food that I want to do. We have seen some unbelievable pivots throughout our community and around the country and the world for that matter. And one of them has happened at a company right in Kansas City, Kansas, and a company that has been around a long time. Typically, they make post-op socks and compression garments, and they shifted gears all the way back in, I'd say, early April or so. So I'm joined right now by Cam Howard, Executive Vice President of Knit Right. And Cam, I appreciate you jumping in with us. I know that we were connected, I'd say, about a month ago. When did you guys make that shift to making masks?
It was about the time that all the stay-at-home orders started taking place in the metro area, so about mid-March. So it's been a little over a month now. At that point, our management team was talking every day because things were changing every day, not only for our business, but within our community and for our employees. So at that point, we started having discussions about how could we take all of our manufacturing capacity and utilize it to maybe help the situation. So,
it's interesting to me. We've seen so many different entrepreneurs and local companies jump in, whether it be with the hand sanitizer or the masks or just in any way. I think we all can do a part. Sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's having the resources. In my case, I feel like I have a voice, so hopefully I can help others with that and promoting and doing those type of things. But you guys were really set up for this. So my question to you is, how quick of a pivot was it? Or maybe put a different way, how challenging of a pivot was it?
Yeah, I'll give a little bit of background about what we do too. We make medical textiles, so that's what we do day in and day out. Our company's been around since 1923, so like you mentioned, a really long time. We have a history of making, in our Kansas City facility, making prosthetic and orthotic interfaces. So, for example, an interface that might go underneath an ankle brace, a knee brace, spinal brace. That's what we do day in and day out. And in our North Carolina facility, we make gradient compression hosiery, all medical textiles. So we had a background. We understand medical textiles. We have a really long history of partnering with practitioners and innovating garments. So we were set up. We have the teams in place to make new garments. And one of the things that we thought about was masks. There was the need at the time. The shortage was pretty bad at that point, just even for the healthcare workers. So when we set out to develop a mask, we wanted to do something that would work for the general public and leave those medical grade masks for the front line. So um, while we have all the team members and the machinery to make the products, this was something completely different than we had done. But in a matter of it was a little over 2 weeks that both our teams in both facilities pulled together, R&D, production, and made it happen within a really short amount of time. For us, medical devices typically take 6 months to sometimes over a year because of the complexity and the amount of paperwork and processes that we have to follow because we are ISO certified, that it takes a long time. And we're working round the clock. Everybody just pulled together. It was pretty amazing. It made it happen in a really short amount of time.
So I want to backtrack a little bit because what you're doing is amazing. And again, there's so many heroes within our community. The obvious ones, first and foremost, to me, being, those on the medical front lines risking their lives every single day. But now we get to that next level of just saying, wait a minute, you know what? This is what's best right now. And to me, that's so much easier said than done, because oftentimes what's best big picture right now may not benefit you in the moment. It may mean taking losses. I had Kathy Nelson on here, Kansas City Sports Commission, I think it was last week, and she had to make the decision to shut down the Big 12 tournament. That economically and emotionally really hurt, but 6 weeks later, how many lives were saved? So, I mean, this makes sense what you guys are doing. What I want to get to is the culture, because I think anybody can make the pivot. But when you have that foundation in place, when you already have an identity and the right practices, I think it makes it so much easier to bring those people together to do the types of things that you guys are doing with a history dating back almost 100 years. Tell me about the culture of KnitRight.
Yeah. Our culture is really special. It's something that we take a lot of pride in. I think it's unique too. I've worked for a couple different manufacturers, and coming to KnitRight, you definitely get the sense of that family culture. We're family here. I think it stems from our mission statement and just the products that we make help make lives better. Everything that we do, we have developed and innovated to improving a patient's life or their outcome. And that's just at the very foundation of everything that we do and believe in. And also part of that is that every team member that we have plays a critical role in making that happen. From the machine operators to somebody that maybe is processing the product to packaging, warehouse, marketing, sales, customer service, everybody plays a role and is critical to fulfilling that mission every day. And we live and breathe it. I think, all of our employees take a lot of pride knowing that they are developing something that will help somebody else. And with the mask project, it was just a natural fit with obviously our manufacturing capacity or capabilities, but just our culture and what we can do to help our community. One of the things of our mission is service. We're here to serve others, serve our community. And this was just a natural fit in how we could help our community and also, help our business, but more importantly, just helping our community. With the mask project, we are donating masks as well. So for every mask that we're manufacturing, we're donating to organizations within our community that are serving people that maybe could not obtain a mask otherwise. So that's really important. And maybe more important than everything else, related to the project is just we're helping our community. We're doing what we can during this time. And I think our culture is what drives us every day. The employees, a culture in order to be sustained, every team member has to believe in it and live it. It can't be leadership or management forcing it down. It really is comes down to every team member feeling like they take a part in that.
So what has the response been from your team members? Around about 180 or so employees in 2 locations? And look, I've said this to almost anyone that I've spoken with at every level of executives, employees, people that are out of work, that these are scary times for everyone. Just because it looks like someone has it figured out, or you have a great culture, doesn't mean that there isn't stress involved. So what has the response been from your 180?
Our employees are excited. I think they're proud that we're doing something that's helping the community, and this is a very unique time, and they're proud of the company and who we are and that we are helping. It has been challenging and stressful for people, both personally and work related, and I think part of the culture goes back to we've really tried to support our employees during this time frame, and um, make them feel like we're here to give them advice, how support them with the programs that are available out there. And we have employees that need to be home with their children because their children are out of school. So just really supporting them. And they're excited. We're bringing employees back now, and people are really happy to be back. We had a drive-through a couple weeks ago for employees where they could pick up masks for their families themselves, and it was so nice to see everybody. We have a skeleton crew here. We're working remotely wherever possible, so it was really nice to see everybody. And we're just family. We miss each other, and
Well, I mean, and that, yeah, that's an amazing thing too. I mean, to have such a big family like that, where everyone can count on each other. I was wondering about the communication aspect too, because when you have that many people, and I've been really fascinated at what some of the companies and executives I've spoken to, um, at how they have managed the communication piece, because they've got everybody going their own way. But to me, the best companies have figured out that communication thing. If they haven't figured out, it's on their mind every single day, and making sure they have those touch points. The Royals are doing the same things with their players across the country and beyond. And it might not just be, hey, here's an update on what's going on. In their case, it might be, the strength and conditioning coach working with somebody, or the nutritionist, or the hitting coach, or they're addressing it all, and they're staying connected, almost viewing this as a better opportunity to stay connected. How have you guys managed communication?
various ways. We started when our office employees started working remotely, which was back mid-March. We started. I actually think I've talked with my departments more frequently, just via phone calls, emails. We have Zoom meetings, so just a variety of way. Whereas when they're in the office, we're always touching base and talking, but just more in-depth conversations now over the phone and different meetings on how things are going, not just on projects, but how are things going, how are their families doing. I think as a company, we have sent out weekly videos. We text a video link to all of our employees, giving them an update on the business, just various aspects of the business, things that are going on here. Last week, we did a short video on changes that are going to be made moving forward in our business, just to take into account distancing. We might be changing our workstation slightly, or just more break areas so that people can split up, and just sharing how things are changing and evolving here, keeping them up to date what's going on. Prior to a lot of the major changes, we were sending out communication to employees on the different programs, the expanded FMLA, the emergency sick leave, all those things, just to help our employees understand what's going on, so they didn't have to worry necessarily about if they would happen to get sick, or somebody in their family would get sick that they needed to care for. Just that constant communication from our management team and our HR department has been going on for the last 6 weeks, probably.
It's so interesting. I've been so impressed with hearing how much the Royals have stayed connected. When I talked to Mike Matheny, he really, the new Royals manager, he viewed it as almost a greater opportunity to connect on a different level, because you have more time. I mean, you just get caught into the everyday, responsibilities, in their terms, playing baseball games, that yes, they communicate, yes, they have meetings and all that kind of stuff, but you only have so much time. And so he almost turned it upside down and said, we can do more right now. And it sounds like that's what you're experiencing when you're saying that you're talking more with your people than you ever had, that maybe this has presented some opportunities.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we've seen it that way from the beginning, as this is an opportunity where we can focus on other areas of the business too, other projects, things that maybe took the back burner. And we're able to focus on those things. And I think just, improving the communication. And this is the time when we can support our employees. And I think that that's going to help make us a stronger team coming back. I think we're going to become more creative in how we do business, about maybe working remotely more frequently, or just other thing. I think I've seen other things with businesses. I think it's pretty amazing, the creativity that especially small businesses have had and in the area, and how they're creatively getting around the limitations that they have. And I think moving forward, it's going to make us all better. We're going to be more efficient. We're going to find some things out and just get better at what we do.
And you said KnitRight's been around since 1920. 1923. So that's a lot of years. Obviously, a lot has changed just over the course of time. It will continue to always change too. There have been, I am sure, major disruptions in the nearly 100-year history. You guys have a 100-year anniversary coming up in a few years too. And so I think about that a lot. I mean, we have, as a country, as communities, we have always survived. We have always made those pivots. What's interesting to me right now is for a company like yours that has been around so long, how different you will look going forward, and that you will survive, that you are going to stay in business. What does it mean to KnitRight to have been around so long? And I know that's a very generic or general question, but when you look at the history of disruption in this company or in this country, it's put a lot of companies out of business. Mm-hmm. But yet KnitRight has been around for 97 years. So has there, well before your time and all of that, is there a history of being able to make those adjustments?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been with the company for 13 years, and just in that time frame, things have changed drastically. I think that's what makes our culture so great, is that we continually evolve and change with what's happening. And we've survived a lot. The company has, even, obviously prior to me, lots of changes. And, our business, we used to be a large distributor. And that happened in 2010 when I was here. Drastic changes to our business. We did 2008. Financially, it was a struggle for a lot of businesses, but we have survived. I think it speaks to the type of business that we are and the relationships that we have within our industry, especially with the orthotic and the prosthetic side of our business. That's our long-standing history, and just the relationships that we have with those practitioners, and people know us, they trust us as a company and as a business. And we stand for integrity and quality product and just who we are as a company. And I think that has really served as the foundation to our success even through difficult times.
It's obviously served KnitRight well for generations, and I think we'll continue to do so. You talked about starting to ease back in and bringing some people back, leaving some people at home. What are some of the goals here moving forward? And you've already made it clear that you guys have really stayed in touch with your people to keep them updated. So whenever this all happens, it's not going to smack them in the face. Obviously, they've had a build up to this, but how do you sort of balance, who's comfortable, who stays home? How do you make everyone feel comfortable so that they remain productive and upbeat and continue to exercise the values and beliefs that you guys have at KnitRight?
Yeah, I think as we've started looking at changes that we're going to make, I think we've really engaged with the employees that are still here. We do have a skeleton crew in production as well, and just engaging with those employees and asking them for feedback, workstations, how do we modify things? And we do that on a daily basis with our business anyway. We want to make improvements to our process every day. So that's really nothing new, but just really talking with them and seeing what will work, what would they recommend, because they're the ones working in those areas. And then just communicating that with employees as they come back. I think also, just having those conversations with employees about their comfort level. That was something that we did early on. There were some employees that, for whatever reason, just did not feel comfortable. And so, of course, work with them on how they could take a leave or whatever it might be. But that's ultimately our goal. Our number one is our employees' safety and well-being, and of course their families. So we want to make sure that people are comfortable coming back and making modifications so that they do feel comfortable. And it will change the way we do business, but I think we'll be better in the long run. I think we've had more frequent meetings, Zoom calls with the sales team, because our strategy changes. Mondays are interesting days because it's kind of a reset of what's going to happen this week. We just, things are evolving and changing. And as we ramp back up, things will continue to evolve and change. And even our sales strategy is a little bit different right now with the mask, focus on the mask. So that will continue as our other business picks back up. How do we balance that? And just ongoing conversations. And we have a great management team, great leaders that will step in and really help guide the different teams and get us back to hopefully our new normal. We won't go back to exactly what we were before, but
yeah, and we were guessing before we came on somewhere close to 100,000. And then what kind of estimate percentage have you sold? What have you donated? How has that all worked out?
So we are continuing to donate and sell product every, tens of thousands a week, really ramping up, especially as we're bringing more of our sales force back online. And that's continuing to ramp up. I've been working on the donation piece of it, mostly locally. So City Union Mission, Cross Lines, Avenue of Life, several organizations locally that we have sent masks and will continue to provide masks to them and other organizations. And it's growing. I mean, the demand is there. Some days it feels like the demand is greater than what we can send out, but we're doing our best to kind of manage that. And we've had lots of requests from businesses, especially as things start to open back up. Businesses looking to provide some level of protection for their employees. So we expect that to kind of pick up a little bit over these next couple of weeks as things start to open up around the nation.
How does that change too, though? You talk about sales, your sales team and the changes they've had to make. You obviously still have to and want to make sure that you're taking care of those customers that have been, you mentioned the trust factor, I'm sure loyal for many, many, many years. So on the one side, you have what's your bread and butter and what has been forever. Now you have the demand in the moment right now. How do you balance all those?
Yeah, it's been challenging. We have really focused on our current customer base with the mask though too, because they are in as practitioners typically seeing patients that they want to protect people that are coming into their offices. So we've really focused on our current customers while we're getting those requests from outside sources as well. But something we're doing with our O&P, which is the orthotic and prosthetic side of our business, to about 2,600 facilities, we are just sending out a care package of masks for themselves and the people in their offices. So, that's a piece of the donation, but we're really trying to take care of our current customers as well. We've identified other customers and we've sent them care packages as well so they can get product to their employees and take care of their employees that are really serving patients right now during this time. It is a balance, and it's a daily and a weekly thing that we're talking on and how we're going to meet the demand. And so far, we've been able to manage it fine. But yeah, we'll see as we go forward.
Yeah, you keep on pushing forward. I think it's interesting too, and I'm curious your take on this. But I feel like I'm starting to lose track of them. But every week has seemed to be like a theme week since this all started. I mean, I think that the first week was kind of that oh crap, and then the second week was we've got to get everybody home, whether that be your employees or for a lot of people, myself included, is we're out of work, we've got to stay home, and then it was okay starting to surface, and now we're getting used to this, and on and on. How have you seen that progression run within KnitRight? Because, and maybe it's not week by week, but getting back to what you were saying, Monday mornings seem different than they ever have before.
Yeah. I think we kind of followed that general, things really seem to come to a halt like that mid-March timeframe, at least in this region. And we definitely felt that. And then we were talking daily. Our management team was talking daily. We were talking multiple times over the weekend, just trying to navigate because things were changing every day, whether it was stay-at-home orders, other recommendations, shifts in our business, and just talking about how we were going to navigate all that. I think it was daily. It was multiple times a day that we were talking and changing. We'd come in the next day and we'd thought we had a plan and totally have to change the direction that we were going. Just looking at the business and the operations, and I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. So that those first couple weeks, I would say that was pretty steady of how we were operating, just this daily, how things were changing, policies were changing. It was constant. I think the last week or so things have started to maybe more stabilize, and we're starting to see where other things are picking up within our business, and we're hearing that from other people in our industry as well, and which is good. We're still having to, I think it's a weekly thing now. We come in and reset and think, what are we looking at this week, and what's the plan for this week, and then hopefully we'll get back to a point where we're thinking a little bit longer term and farther out. But I think right now we just have to remain agile and flexible, knowing that things we don't have a lot of control over. So yeah, just controlling those things that we can. And I think over the next several weeks, we'll continue to see that, just things starting to pick back up, maybe a little bit more normal, bringing more employees back. And we're really excited to hopefully be going in that direction.
As you're saying that, it reminds me a little bit of one of the elements I'm talking about in one of my speeches about timeless versus timely, and most of us are wired to think big picture, and you still have to do that right now. But so much is about this moment and doing what's right in this moment, which, by the way, can go a bad direction too. I've seen way too many, in my opinion, and I won't call out names or get political about it, that are doing what benefits them in this moment, and sometimes not the greater good. And so, I mean, there's a puzzle to be put together here. I'll finish things up with you. I feel like I'm tempting fate today with the weather that's in the area, and so far we've survived, so I think we're gonna be okay. But you mentioned how good it was to see your employees as they were able to come in and pick up masks and drive through like that. Have you thought about what that moment will be like, whatever the new normal is, to see that family and have everybody back and working again somewhat close to normal?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be great. I mean, we kind of joke about we're going to want to all hug each other, but probably not what we should do. But definitely, looking forward to just seeing everybody back. And it's been hard. I've been in the office most days, and definitely a quiet, more somber, atmosphere here. But so yeah, just really looking forward to having everybody back, and definitely miss them. It's been a tough time for everybody, and we've been in communication and checking in on each other, but just having everybody back together will be huge.
Yeah, I think everybody will feel that way no matter what they do or where they are, and we'll get there in a safe way is certainly my hope and expectation. If anybody wants any more information, I've been putting up the website. Is that the best way to get a hold of you guys?
Yeah. There's a link on that site, on our KnitRight site, to get to the masks. But just that has all the information about our company. So.
Okay, so everybody can go to KnitRight and KnitRight.com. You can click on the link to the masks, and I can't. Well, one, thank you for spending the time, but I can't say it enough. The culture, the communication, and the pivot of what you guys have been able to do, to me, is representative of a company that certainly has amazing values, but also indicates a bit of why you have been around for nearly 100 years. It's one thing to have the product. You already have that. But to go with that product, you have to have the values and the relationships. And so it sounds to me like everything has come together in a tough time to make it right. And you guys all deserve to be commended for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me on.
All right, Cam, thanks so much. Hang tight for 1 second. I'm going to wrap up the show, and it was a lot of fun to hear that insight for a company that has figured out, already had it figured out, in my opinion, how to do the right thing at this time. A much smaller company in the area that is taking care of a lot of people is Casey Cattle Company. They're up in Weston, Missouri, veteran owned and operated, led by former Army Ranger Patrick Montgomery. So check them out. You can go to their website and order. They deliver to all 50 states. Wagyu beef, it's a staple in the Goldberg house, and it is truly amazing. And I want to thank my partners over at Enterprise Bank and Trust, my title sponsor. Couldn't do this without them. Enterprise Bank and Trust, hashtag no stopping you. Have another episode coming up tomorrow, number 31. But my thanks to Cam Howard from Knit Right for spending time here on episode 30. That's going to do it for today. Stay safe, everyone. And thanks for watching Rounding the Bases Live, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust.